I don't know. What the fuck is up, y'all? It's Crazy McKormik up in this motherfucker. So, welcome to the Retrospective. Oh, shit. Okay, so, just bear with me. I am currently in the middle of trying to hook up some posts so that way I can try to get more people coming in. Hopefully it works, because I'd like to actually get an audience to fucking watch this shit. All right, so yeah, because yeah, we're gonna be doing another part of this series that I've been doing, and that is reviewing and critiquing the videos from Feminist Frequency brought to us by Anita Sarkeesian, talking about the tropes versus women in video games, and we're basically talking about how fucking retarded that all is. So far as I've seen, I feel like I've been actually doing it pretty fucking well, um, with bashing this hoe. So let me just go ahead and post this on my social medias. So I posted it into the Sid Jones Network. I'm currently posting it in there. I posted in my personal Discord. Might as well tweet it. Hopefully, we can get some people to fucking come around based off of what's happening here. Because we got a little bit of time ahead of ourselves, probably roughly around like an hour, maybe a little bit more, depending on what's the situation, individual, and we'll figure out what the hell's going on. That speaking of that little phrase, if you know who that is, I think I might have an idea of who is next that I'm gonna fucking try to bash on when it concerns the gaming industry and things of that nature. So I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. But yep. I'm in a couple of groups, so I'll post on those groups, and especially since since this is talking about video games and things of that nature, I feel like this is probably the thing to do is to basically just talk shit about the enemy that is Anita Sarkeesian. So hopefully, that kicks in. All right. So let me see what else I can post this into, and then after that, we'll start getting into this. Start getting into the fucking topic of conversation. All right. So we got that. All right. Let's see. What else can I fucking do? Nope, already did that there. All right. Let me check one last place and see if this actually does anything. All right. Cool. As far as I'm concerned, we're good. So, okay, here we go. And let's see, what else do I got here? I know I'm boring it. I know I'm boring it up with the opening and everything, but you're just gonna have to bear with. Why? Because you watch this shit, and I have the control. I have the power. All right, let's go ahead and switch a roo. Boom. I don't know why it didn't fade. There we go. Okay. And let's do it to it. Here we go. Help us. Oh, God. Yes, that's what we're covering. And I brought a little snack, too, so... I haven't eaten, so anybody who wants to complain, fuck you, Sid.
Welcome to the third episode in our multi-part series exploring the roles and representations of women in video games. This project examines the tropes, plot devices, and patterns most commonly associated with women in gaming from a systemic, big-picture perspective.
That you all wasted
$150,000
on.
Offering critical analysis of many popular games and characters. But please keep in mind that it's both possible and even necessary.
I could do this without $6,000.
Enjoy a piece of media while also being critical of its more pernicious aspects. In our previous 2 episodes on this topic, we've discussed how the damsel in distress trope has been, and continues to be, one of the most pervasive representations of women in gaming.
Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Titles from old school classics to more modern day blockbusters. But what about the reverse? Are there games starring heroic women who must go on a quest to save a dude in distress? Well, yes, they do exist. However, since female protagonists starring in their own games are already few and far between,
that should just end the discussion. Shut up. Equality, bitch.
Adventures in which women work to save men in peril are extremely rare. Back in our first episode, I mentioned that Princess Peach is the star of exactly one platformer. That game is called Super Princess Peach, and it was released in 2006 for the Nintendo DS handheld system.
Okay, so let me stop you here. Just based on the cover alone, you're assuming that it's a complete and utter role reversal. Woohoo and shit. So if it was like, what was the name of that fucking game again?
I mentioned that Princess Peach is the star of exactly one platformer.
Wait for it.
That game is called Super Princess Peach, and it was released in 2006 for the Nintendo DS handheld system.
Okay, so if Super Princess Peach is basically in the role reversal of having to save Mario, okay, that's understandable. That's actually pretty fucking cool as a gamer who does kind of fall into the trap of the tropes of women and damsels in distress and stuff like that, because I enjoy those kind of games. Now, however, Super Princess Peach, I would also play, because it's like, okay, this is something that you don't normally see. After 20-some fucking years of Princess Peach being kidnapped by Bowser, and now it's up to Princess Peach to save Mario. Cool, a spin on things. Now, if you were to pop into the game and the whole game consists of fucking Princess Peach cleaning the house barefoot, pregnant, and cooking in the kitchen, then I could see your fucking argument, but I can guarantee you that's not even the case. Because I'm pretty sure that even Shirago... I'm sure that even Shirago Miyamoto would have just been like, nah, fam. Like, we ain't playing it like that. So let's just see how the man-hater, Anita Sarkeesian, tries to fucking feminazi her way out of this.
Once upon a time, princesses were called to rescue 2 captured plumbers.
That's cool.
They trained intensely to master the skills necessary for survival. If you can stand up to really mean people, maybe you...
No, Emily... donut. Emily, she apparently is not counting character, you know, like creative characters and fucking... you know, games where, yeah, she's not counting games like Skyrim where you can build a character into this trope and shit. She's not counting the games where you can choose between playing a male or a female. Not once has she actually fucking said anything about Bebe's Kids for the Super Nintendo, where you basically get to pick between a boy and a girl as the main characters in the game, and both of them have equal movesets, both of them have equal fucking power, both of them have equal everything. Like, there's no distinction between the boy character and the girl character in the game Bebe's Kids, based off of the movie, based off of a shitty fucking stand-up that doesn't make sense to me. No, she wants to talk about this type of shit where it's like, oh, you have to play as a dude and you have to save a chick. And now she's going to complain about now how the chick is going to have to save the dude. At least that's what I'm thinking. I haven't watched this beforehand. So this pretty much comes as a surprise to me as it does to anybody else that hasn't watched this shit.
You have what it takes to be a princess.
Uh-huh.
The premise is a simple inversion of the standard franchise formula,
Yeah.
with Bowser abducting Mario and Luigi, while Peach is tasked with their rescue this time. So finally, after being kidnapped in 13 separate Super Mario games, Peach gets to be the hero for once.
So, complain about the graphics. Please complain about the graphics.
But don't get too excited, because everything else about the game ends up in a train wreck of gendered stereotypes.
Oh, God.
Nintendo introduced a new gameplay mechanic for Peach where the player can choose from 4 special powers, or vibes as they're called. And you know what those powers are? Her mood swings. That's right, Peach's powers are her out-of-control, frantic female emotions.
Wait, what?
She can throw a temper tantrum and rage her enemies to death, or bawl her eyes out and wash the bad guys away with tears. Essentially, Nintendo has turned a PMS joke into their core gameplay mechanic.
Yes! Yes! So you can't tell me that women just don't get PMS. This isn't how women are. This is realistic here. This is realistic in a fake fucking background. How are you complaining about this? Like, this is definitely something that I think all women should appreciate. Being able to use the worst part of a menstrual period as their power. You know? Menstrual cycle is your superpower. Embrace it. I don't know anything about it, but playing this game, I might figure out a thing or two.
As if that weren't bad enough, Peach is not even featured in any of the game's narrative cutscenes. Instead, they all focus on the backstory of her Parasol, who it turns out is really a cursed boy named Perry. So while it's definitely nice to see Peach starring in her own adventure, the dude in distress role reversal premise here feels
What up,
like
nerd?
it's just intended as a lighthearted joke or niche market novelty. Similar gender and
'Cause women are things. And this game proves it!
version plot devices have been used in a handful of games over the years, including Balloon Kid for the original Game Boy, in which Alice must search for her lost little brother. Part of the plot of Kaya Dark Lineage revolves around finding Kaya's half-brother Frank.
I never thought I'd see you again.
Okay.
Frank! I'm gonna get you out of here.
In Primal, Jennifer Tate travels to demonic realms in an attempt to save her kidnapped boyfriend Lewis.
Now, my viewers have seen me play that game. Now, the game sucked, and it wasn't because it was a female character, it was because the fucking controls are ass. But the storyline is pretty sound. And then on top of that, spoiler alert, the boyfriend ends up working for the guy that you're trying to fucking destroy.
In one of my favorite games of all time, Beyond Good and Evil, Jade's sidekick Uncle Paige is captured and held prisoner for a portion of the adventure. It's probably not a coincidence that the majority of these titles were produced and released during the run of the popular TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Well, yeah. Woohoo and shit. Be fucking happy. Is it too much to ask for you to fucking be happy? Or do feminazis like her have to fucking constantly swirl in their own premenstrual syndrome?
Which led the girl power trend in mass media entertainment that briefly took hold in the late 1990s and early 2000s.
Yes.
You might remember Charmed,
Yep.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or the British pop sensations the Spice Girls, who, in many ways, exemplified the phenomenon.
Oh yeah, and also let's also not forget about, Kitty. Kitty, the metal chick band from fucking Canada. They came out in like what, 98, 99, something like that. Like they did pretty well for themselves, and they still are to this day. So like the whole fucking girl power fucking shit, it still kind of rises on. Shit, take a look at overseas. Floor Jansen of Nightwish. Fucking front man. Front woman, whatever the hell. I would totally fucking bang the shit out of Sporty Spice. I'm just saying.
Over the past decade, however, games featuring the dude in distress gender inversion have been few and far between. One rare example is the 2007 indie game Aquaria, in which Naja travels through an underwater world, making sushi,
Oh my god, you're playing as a fucking seahorse. Male trope.
learning about her past, and must
As a
eventually rescue
fish.
her love interest Lee. So, what is the difference between traditional narratives that place female characters in powerless positions and stories in which a male character requires rescuing by a woman? On the surface, the dude in distress and the damsel in distress may appear similar. However, they're not actually equivalent. To understand why they're different, we need to examine the broader historical and cultural implications of the two plot devices.
What?
First, there's been no shortage of men in leading or heroic roles in video games, or in any other creative medium for that matter.
Okay, so basically what she's saying is that because of that, until there's an equal number of video games that have the female be the protagonist, as there is to the male demographic, women will never be equal. Fuck you.
In fact, one recent study found that only about 4% of modern titles are exclusively designed around a woman in the leading role.
Hey, be happy about that in a male-dominated fucking business.
Since men are still largely the default for protagonists, the rare dude in distress plotline does not add to any long-standing gender tradition in storytelling. Second, and perhaps more importantly, damseled female characters tend to reinforce pre-existing regressive notions about women as a group being weak or in need of protection because of their gender. While stories with the occasional helpless male character do not perpetuate anything negative about men as a group, since there's no long-standing stereotype of men being weak or incapable because of their gender.
Oh my god. Look, Anita. Biologically speaking, men are more physical than women. Biologically speaking. I mean, yes, there are female athletes out there in the fighting world. There are female boxers, which I don't know because I don't watch boxing. There are females in fucking UFC. I mean, shit. Hilary Swank was in the next Karate Kid. You know, there have been a lot of leading ladies in fucking action movies, which I'm sure that your drunk ass. Actually, you look like you have fucking Down syndrome in this still shot. But nevertheless, there's a lot of leading ladies in action movies. Scarlett Johansson now being a part of Black Widow. Even though you would probably be like, well, she's a supporting character. Yeah, until Black Widow actually fucking comes out. And then you've also got, who the fuck's the bitch that plays Miss Marvel? I refuse to say Captain Marvel. It's Miss Marvel. Marvel. Fucking Brie, what's her face? You know, like another fucking feminazi in your little camp, but in the movie industry and shit like that. Fucking, you know, so like this whole argument about the whole trope and shit like that really is just I hate to say it, but like no, actually no, I don't hate to say it. Fucking I know this video is 7 years old. However, Twisted Wishes, I never was around during Gamergate, so I never got a chance to fucking watch this shit. So so it is that, you know, so it is what it is. It's for the sake of entertainment purposes, so enjoy. Or leave, I don't care.
At this point, let's quickly take a look at the
Not to mention, fucking, wow, fucking reverse Botox due to the fucking frame rate screw up. Anyways, yeah, there's actually more videos that she fucking put out in this. It wasn't actually just these 3 videos that she put out on a 4-year span.
game Spelunky. Originally released in 2009, the game included a stereotypical damsel in distress as a gameplay mechanic,
Yes.
whose rescue rewarded the player with bonus health. The 2012 HD remake of the game for Xbox Live again features the stock character damsel, complete with newly up.
Oh look, she's got Anita Sarkeesian's nose and Angelina Jolie's chest.
Upgraded boob jiggle. However, this time an option was added
Yes,
to the menu
boob
that
jiggle
allows
for the
players
win.
to select a replacement for the default woman in peril by switching to either a Chippendale-style hunk
Ha!
or a dog instead. Setting aside the fact that
Hey,
if a
be
female
happy with
character
that.
is easily interchangeable with a dog, then it's probably a pretty good indication that something is wrong.
But hey, what about the cats? Huh? They put a dog in there, but what about the cats? We can't save cats? What's wrong with that?
Merely providing an optional gender swap is not a quick and easy fix, especially where stock character-style damsels are concerned.
Gay.
The two may appear the same, but they don't mean the same thing in our culture. This is still a problem, while
No.
this is not. Again,
Wait. So a guy saving a dude, like a guy saving a chick is the problem, but a guy saving another guy is not the problem? You really hate guys, don't you?
and because one reinforces pre-existing stereotypes about women.
No, that's not a pre-existing stereotype. Not all women are blonde, buxom babes. Okay? Look at you! You are the complete antithesis of the female character in Spelunky.
While the other
I mean, I'd still smash, but you're the complete and utter opposite.
does not reinforce any pre-existing stereotypes about men. In recent years, we've also seen a number of news stories about fans who've taken it upon themselves to switch the gender roles in classic-era games by manipulating the code. There's Mike Micah's Donkey Kong hack, in which Pauline works to save Jumpman.
There's
Mike
nothing
Boyd's
wrong with that.
gender-bending version of Wind Waker. And Kenna Warzinski's Zelda starring Zelda,
What if Zelda was a girl?
which transforms the princess into the protagonist.
Hey, be happy. This is a thing. It can happen.
This practice of gender hacking game ROMs has actually been around for decades, offering enterprising players the chance to play as a female version of Mega Man or as Princess Peach rescuing Mario with her mermaid power. And thanks to the internet, game mods and emulators are now much more widely accessible. Gender hacks like these,
But it's not enough. Fucking men. Because it was probably a man that made the gender swap on the characters.
illustrate how female characters taking on the role of heroic rescuer can directly challenge the status quo and interrupt the established male-dominated pattern in gaming. That said, I don't necessarily think equal opportunity damseling is the answer. Simply
No, but it is unique, so shut the fuck up.
reversing the gender roles of a problematic convention so that more men are damseled in more games is not the best long-term solution, even if the practice might be subversive in the short term to help demonstrate a very real gender disparity in the medium. Ultimately, we need to think beyond the cliché altogether.
Why?
Over the past several years, we've seen an explosion of independent development, with many new titles drawing inspiration from classic-era games.
Yeah.
This is an exciting and vibrant trend with enormous potential for innovation. But have games produced outside of the mainstream studio system managed to break the gender mold and avoid damseling? Well, we see the trope reproduced in indie, mobile, or retro-inspired games like Gish, Castle Crashers, Aversion, Machinarium, Super Meat Boy, Robot, I Must Run,
What about this?
Flying Hamster,
Oh no, the hamster.
Shard,
John!
Skylar, you okay?
Sideway New York,
What are these games?
Zack Zero, Bean's Quest, Hotline Miami,
Oh, I've heard about this game.
Labyrinth Legends,
I heard about that one.
Sang Fuad Tales of Werewolves,
Josephine.
Okay.
Gunman Clive,
Yeah.
DLC Quest, The Other Brothers,
God damn it.
Fist Puncher,
You must hunt down the kidnappers and rescue the missing women.
Asses.
Fight Back,
Okay, enough. We get it.
Tiny Thief,
Are you just gonna go through every fucking PlayStation 3 indie game? Or are we gonna fucking continue on with this goddamn story? This is just filler at this point.
Nightmare Tower,
Oh my god.
and Guacamelee.
Finally, shut up. Okay, so this one is not that big of a deal, I don't think. You know, because, like, hey, how about this? Why don't you complain about the fact that Guacamelee is so fucking aimed directly towards goddamn, you know, the Mexican community? Why don't you make an argument about that?
Not to mention the myriad of other mobile games for tablets and smartphones which recycle the excuse plot ad nauseum. Far from being a thing of the past, the trope now appears to be more popular than ever. And since mobile, indie, and retro-inspired games are built upon a legacy of inequality in the medium, the new wave of 80s and 90s nostalgia has brought with it the resurrection of the worst of the old-school damsel in distress stereotype.
Oh my god, you're recycling the same shit that you said in the last 2 episodes. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Indeed, many of these new titles essentially function as love letters to the trope, as a way of paying homage to classic games of years gone by. This approach is no doubt intended as a kind of shallow meta-commentary on the tired old convention, suggesting developers are only employing the trope because the games that inspired them did so.
Yeah.
But this type of ironic
Yeah, that's called if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And obviously the trope ain't broke. It's going to continue whether you bitch about it or not.
awareness does not challenge or disrupt what the damsel in distress trope says about the role of women in such narratives. Fat Princess,
Corrupt Doll
Dokuro,
Emily, thank you for the
and
200
aforementioned
bits.
Spelunky all include patronizing damsel jokes built right into the gameplay mechanics, which turn damsel's characters into very literal objects, instead of just narrative ones.
Yeah.
In Spelunky, the damsel...
Come on, like, take her to the top of the fucking mine shaft so that way you can mine her you can mine her with your shaft. There you go. Come at me, Anita. Come at me, bruh.
can be knocked out, picked up.
You knock her out and then, you take her through the mine shaft. Yeah, because, jokes.
Carried around and thrown at enemies.
Throw her at the... Yeet! This just makes me want to play Spelunky. Hold on, I gotta see that again. Wait for it, wait for it.
The damsel can be knocked out, picked up, carried around, and thrown at enemies.
Yeet!
Via a smooch of victory.
That's right, kiss my key.
If you manage to get her limp, unconscious body to the end of each level while still alive, that is.
Hey, think about it like this. He's being the white knight, yellow girl, because of the fact that, she's knocked out. She has no fucking way. Yeah, let's watch that again. Yeet! We're gonna watch that again.
In Spelunky, the damsel can be knocked out, picked up, carried around, and...
Yeah. Somebody roofied the female character. Alright, Corrupt Doll Emily, thank you for the sub. Hell yeah.
Thrown at enemies.
Yeet!
Rewarding the player with an extra...
Oh man, it screwed up the video. So we gotta watch it again.
Carried
This is the last time, I promise. Yeet!
Before rewarding the player with an extra heart via a smooch of victory.
Oh yeah, heart with the kiss of the key.
Limp, unconscious body to the end of each level while still alive, that is.
That's right, we're gonna take her into that cave.
Fat Princess is essentially one big game of capture the flag, but with princesses instead of flags. Teams of up to 16 players work together to rescue their kidnapped princess from the enemy's castle, before the opposing team can save their own princess from your castle.
Yeah, fat
Even
bitch.
worse is the other game mechanic, which allows players to feed their captive princesses slices of cake. The more she eats, the heavier she gets, and the more difficult for the other team to carry her back to their own base.
So?
Her voice also becomes deeper and less traditionally feminine sounding the bigger you make her.
Hi, boys, I'm ready to fudge. You want me on top? Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, you make me so hot.
Yeah, come on. Like we haven't all seen Orgasmo. Feed that bitch.
Players are...
Feed her! There's a There's a fucking Human Centipede quote there for you. Feed her! Feed her! Fuck you, Anita Sarkeesian.
Meant to find all of this hilarious, of course.
It is hilarious, and I just made it better.
So the entire premise of this game is basically built around one big sexist fat joke.
And at this point, like, what is are fat people not comedy anymore? Like, for real, like, you're really gonna fucking hate on this shit? Fuck you. Like, it's the point of the game. It's comedy. It's a fucking game, and you're gonna take this all too fucking seriously.
Sometimes this type of self-referential humor is referred to as ironic sexism.
Yeah.
It's the I know that you know that I know this is sexist, wherein
Satire.
the underlying assumption on the part of media makers seems to be that as long as the sexism is overt, obvious, or over the top, then it somehow loses its cultural power and is suddenly no longer a problem.
Okay, and the word, like, I'm gonna say this like Eric Cartman. It's fucking comedy! Right, this is straight up a fucking, yeah, Karen Sarkeesian. I swear to God, Anita Sarkeesian's middle name is probably Karen.
Ironic sexism is dependent upon the false assumption that people no longer really hold retrograde sexist beliefs, and therefore the very idea of sexism is now just a hilarious joke. But
'Cause it
nothing
is.
further from the truth. Words like parody and satire are often thrown around to describe or defend these comedic depictions of yet more
Damn, she called me out on that one.
helpless female characters. But a simple wink and nod to the audience acknowledging a sexist trope while actively reproducing that trope does not automatically grant a free pass to continue exploiting the trope.
Because women are not allowed to laugh at themselves. I believe that's on the ball here. Is that the problem, Anita? You can't just take a look at yourself and just see the fucking trope and kind of just giggle? It's like, dude, I'm Irish, okay? And people will call me a fucking potato chucker. I don't give a fuck. Because I'm actually very comfortable in my own skin. I think maybe that's the problem with feminism in the third wave. Is that they're not comfortable in their skins, so that's why they have to fucking bitch about shit and go out of their way to bitch about shit. Yeah, you can't make fun of you. Like, that's the problem. I can make fun of myself. Me and my boys, we all make fun of each other. That's how we communicate. We tear each other down in order to build each other up. You tear everybody down to try to keep them down. We are not the same. It's like, what's the old saying? Women are from Venus, men are from hell. No, I'm sure that it was in some sort of feminist doctrine or something.
All this a rescue?
Who said I was here for you, princess?
Every medieval fairy tale ever written?
More often than not,
See, now that's funny. Because that's mocking the trope.
the ironic humor is just an excuse used by developers as a way to try and have their cake and eat it too,
Fat princess.
so to speak.
Fat princess. Wow, I actually stopped it on one with both of her eyes actually open rather than her looking like she's about to have an orgasm. Yes, Emily, absolutely correct.
They want to use the trope, but not be held accountable for the inherent negative gender implications that come with it.
There are none. You're fucking making mountains out of molehills. As I've been explaining every fucking Saturday for the last 3 weeks, you're making mountains out of molehills, and I plan on continuing to do this a little bit more too. I would love to fucking have an argument with her.
Incidentally, a few games might have the option to play as a woman in multi-character lineups, but just because you could choose to play her does not mean that this is then magically okay.
You have to get out of here before they sacrifice me to the
success
volcano god.
by offering the ability to unlock and play as the damsel character.
Meat Girl has a little extra meat on her.
But typically only after the game has first been completed with the default male hero.
Meat titties!
However, these types of token role reversals do absolutely nothing to diminish the issues inherent in using the trope in the first place. Now, of course, some of the games we've been discussing
That had absolutely no fucking context whatsoever, and that's what makes it funny.
may also be well made or super fun to play, aside from their regressive gender representations. But the widespread resurrection of old school style damsels in distress is still an unfortunate trend because it's absolutely possible to create indie games that appeal to the retro feeling of the 8-bit or 16-bit era without regurgitating the helpless woman as plot device.
Yeah, if the fucking characters are, like, ambiguous, and you can't tell whether or not it's male or female, it's basically like this. Every video game needs to be replacing the main characters, so every fucking protagonist and person in distress has to look exactly like Milo Stewart. Then maybe Anita Sarkeesian will shut up. See, like, okay, for the last 3 weeks, I've been hearing nothing but Anita Sarkeesian fucking bitching about the tropes in the video game industry with the whole damsel in distress situation, and I'm sure that there's even more that she can, that she's gonna bitch about. This is supposed to be a 12-part series, so there's more videos in the next coming weeks. But have we at one time in this in the last 3 videos that I've watched, has she actually even so much as come up with a single solitary solution? No, all she's done is bitch about this shit. And stolen videos from other fucking content creators, and stolen money from a whole bunch of people that were stupid enough to fucking give it to her. Hold on, I can take the guy's jokes, and then if I joke with said dude, now that's unfair. Sometimes that can happen. It really depends on the personal feeling of how that person is. However, I can joke with people because people know that I'm a jokey guy. I'm a very jokey person. I'm a jokester. I'm a prankster. I'm a satirical asshole, which makes me perfect for being on the Sid Jones Network. However, it's something about the feminist third wave movement that seems to take away the comedy aspect of the feminists. I don't understand it because I'm not a third wave feminist. I'm not 100% a masculine guy. Like, I honestly believe in equality in the workforce and stuff like that. But when you're taking stuff out of, like when you're taking this shit and you're making mountains out of molehills, it just becomes like, okay, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're just looking for a reason to fucking bitch about shit now. You have no other reason to bitch. You're like, we demand voting rights. Okay, we've got it. We demand equal pay. We got it. You got it. Oh, a pink tax. Tropes in video games, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's bullshit. It's like, dude, this is why people hate the aspect and idea of the existence of feminism, is just due to the fact that you constantly look for something to bitch about. And the third wave feminism isn't even about equality. Like, I've come to the realization, and I came up with the realization about this during the SJW movement about 4 or 5 years ago. I came to the realization that third wave feminism is about supremacy of women. And I swear to God, like, and then on the dude aspect of it, it's like where dudes now are trying to say that they too are feminists and shit like that. It's basically like saying, it's basically going to a chick who just broke up with a dude and then started talking to another guy, and then you as the third guy, who's like the friend, basically says he doesn't care about your feelings, he only wants to fuck you. Says the guy who doesn't care about your feelings and only wants to fuck you. You know, it's basically like, okay, we want voting rights. That's first wave. Second wave, we want equality. between men and women. Okay? And then, wait, maybe I'm wrong. Third wave was more like, we don't need a man. Fourth wave, we are men. Yeah.
There are other ways to pay homage or shout out to the past through arts.
Feminists are in denial that pussy runs the world. No, they are well aware of the fact that pussy runs the world, and they want pussy to completely run the world. Everybody was everybody was saying on the internet 4 years ago that they wanted to vote for Trump, that they didn't want to vote for Trump because Hillary Clinton. Like half of the people that voted for Hillary Clinton in the first place most likely ended up voting for Hillary Clinton anyways just because of what's between her legs. That's the only, that's not the entire reason, but that was an important piece of her of her campaign. Vote for Hillary, become the first female president. And then, you've got, fake news and all that other shit, and people were just like, that guy, he's full of shit, but at least he lets you know it. He's honest about being completely full of fucking shit, and that's why he won. I'm about equality, but I don't care about shit. But yeah, like, feminists, I think, are very well aware of the fact that pussy runs the world. They're just trying to take it to a level to where it's going to be a supremacist thing over men. That's how it is. No, like, that's not even a clowning. Like, that's the truth. Like, you take a look at a lot of feminist fucking rhetoric and videos and shit like that, like this as a prime example. You're always looking, feminists are always looking for something to fucking bitch about, and and they go out of their way to look for something to fucking bitch about, even as something as innocent as fucking video games, which is something that I take precedence on.
Style, gameplay mechanics, or level design.
Okay, so you're not going to fucking argue or bitch about the fact that androgynous character right there is completely and utterly naked. It could be a woman. Remember Pat from Saturday Night Live? Nobody could tell whether or not it was a man or a woman because it looked like a man with titties. And you couldn't tell if it had a dick or a vagina. That's Pat. Okay? And the whole joke was like you couldn't tell if whether or not Pat was a man or a woman. Nothing about Pat proved whether or not it was one or the other. There was no obviousness or anything like that. That character in and of itself, that could possibly be a woman, and it's completely and utterly fucking naked. And you're not gonna bitch about that, or what?
Games like Sword and Sorcery, Where's My Heart, and Fez are all beautiful and creative retro-style games
that have absolutely no gender roles in it, I'm assuming. Keep feminism out of video games. Everyone. It's not even a non. It's everyone. Except her.
That appeal to a sense of nostalgia without replicating or falling back on the damsel in distress.
Making it boring, and that's why I never played Fez.
Of course, games attempting to make light of the damsel in distress are not limited to recent indie games, but are part of a long tradition in the medium that continues today with popular mainstream titles like Rayman Origins and Ghost Trick Phantom
Jiggly
Detective
titties.
for the Nintendo DS. Since comedy in and of itself is often confused for subversion or deconstruction in our current media culture.
Okay, you know what? This just popped into my head, and since I've got her on her O face, I'm going to stop it right here. I want everybody in the chat right now, press a 2 if you are bisexual. So I'm probably going to get, out of all of the viewers that I have right now, I can guarantee you that I'm probably going to get a good portion of 2s. And then on top of that, I also want you, like for those of you who write down the number 2, see Candy is bi. And so like everybody, and so let me ask you something to everybody who decides to type in the number 2. Corrupt Emily is also bisexual. Would you buy a game because the fucking damsel in distress has huge fucking knockers? Keeping in mind, of course, that Candy and Emily are both female. Tabitha, also female. So that's 3 people that are up in here. They are bisexual. Will you buy a video game to play if the protagonist or the damsel or victim has huge fucking jiggly knockers? See, there you go. Corrupt Emily says that she'll buy a game for titties. There's another fucking argument right there, because granted that the gaming industry is a male dominated fucking thing. There is such a thing as bisexual chicks who will buy video games for the exact same reason that men will. Big, jiggly, fucking frothy titties just bouncing and jiggling due to some wonderful mechanics that have come up in the last few years. You know, in the last 10 or 15 or 20 years, there have actually been breast fucking mechanics added into fucking video games. So that way they jiggle when the chick bounces or even breathes or moves to the side. Actually, there have been some times where I've seen some fucked up shit where like the titties would just stay like this and they would kind of almost sit in place. See, yeah, there you go. All 3 bisexual viewers are all female. I'd buy for tits. Fuck yes. Fuck yeah, but that's not my main focus. I mean, it's not my main focus there either, but it still is awesome for having that be like icing on top of the fucking cake. You know what I'm saying? Where's your argument in there, Anita? You forgot, you know, like, because, you know, if you think about this, if you really think about this, you know, this argument really only fucking goes to the, you know, this argument is aimed basically towards the standard binary, 0 and 1. Do you like titties? 0 and 1. Okay, so obviously 0 being no, 1 being yes, because we all understand how bits work. Titties are a good bonus. Okay, so do you like titties? 1, yes. 0, no. Are you a man? 1, yes. 0, no. All she's looking at is, okay, if you're a man, you know, 1, you are a man. 1, you like titties. 0, you are female. 0, you don't like titties. Like, they're not physically pleasing and attractive to the eye. Like, that's her fucking outlook on it. That's her fucking outlook on it. 1 and 1 and 0 and 0. Like, she's not looking at the fact of the possibility of there being a 0 and a 1. Like, the titties thing has to be 0 at all times. Like, that's basically my argument on that one when it concerns, like, the big jiggly titties on video games, which I love. You know what? One of these days, I might have to try to go out and try to find Dead or Alive Volleyball Edition just for the sake of it.
Let's take a moment to unpack the various ways humor has been employed in relation to the trope. In the 1994 platformer Earthworm Jim, the woman in peril waiting at the end of the game is officially called Princess What's-Her-Name. A reference meant to humorously acknowledge the fact that many damseled characters in classic era titles were so unimportant that they either remained unnamed or were otherwise entirely unmemorable.
God, I love that era.
So, the developers of Earthworm Jim noticed that sexist trend, thought it was hilarious, and proceeded to make another game in which a woman is completely unimportant. To add insult to injury, when Jim finally reaches Princess What's-Her-Name and is preparing to collect his reward, she is randomly killed by a falling cow.
Oh, that's the whole point of the cow.
The bad ending of the indie game version features a
Because, like, dude, if you don't remember, at the very beginning of Earthworm Jim, there's a point in the game where you have to jump on a log that a cow is standing on, and the cow gets launched. And then throughout the rest of the game, you see the cow in the background flying in the air. So at the very end of the game, like, he's about to fucking, he's about to fucking, you know, as soon as he rescues Princess What's-Her-Name, she gets flattened by the fucking cow! Female characters had names on NES in Friday the 13th. That's true, but, you know, like, that was equal. There was an equal amount of men and an equal amount of women, so that game doesn't really count. You know, if anything, that would go towards the trope of the fucking, you know, horror movie aspect, where it's like, oh, you know, it's always the black guy that's first to die in the movie, or it's always, you know, that's another thing too. But to make up for that, fuck Paul. You know, to make up for that, you know, you have to have the female protagonist be the last one, half naked, clothes are ripped, running through the woods trying to save herself and kill Jason at the same time. You know, like, that's just, you know, like, so it doesn't count, you know, because it's not, you know, because it's actually equal. It's not a complaint going towards how the female character, you know, is the one that's always in distress.
similar joke. When the hero finally reaches the princess, she turns into a monster and eats you alive.
Okay.
A similar end.
You know what? Has she ever played the Bard's Tale? Because at the end, the female that you're trying to, like, the whole point of the game is that you are a bard that's basically going through this huge adventure in the hopes of trying to get laid by this princess. And by the way, the bard is being voiced by Carrie Elwes. So fucking you know, so, like, at the end of the game, it turns out that the princess is actually a demon from hell, and you have, like, 3 fucking choices. You either have to fight the demon, and then you either fight the demon, and then it's like, it splits from there, where you have a difference of having to beat the demon, and you get one ending. And then you lose to the demon, you get another ending. Or you just accept it and you just have a life of bliss in an overthrown world with the demon. You know, so it kind of takes care of all 3 of the fucking tropes there.
Game punchline can also be found in Castle Crashers.
Nobody
After you
cares.
saved the 4th princess and then fought and killed your friends over who gets to claim her, it turns out that she has a horrible clown face. In
That's
each case,
funny.
The joke derives from the fact that after completing the long and perilous journey to save his woman, our hero is hilariously cheated out of his rightful reward.
Yeah, hilariously. Now shut up.
In other words, the comedy comes at the
Yes, I love that game, Catherine. Catherine was the shit.
damsel's expense. These titles may be attempting to make fun of gaming conventions like the heroic rescue or the smooch of victory.
Yeah.
But they don't fundamentally change, challenge, or subvert the damsel in distress trope itself.
Who cares? You're you know, like, once again, mountains out of molehills, digging too fucking deep into this shit and making an argument about nothing. If they're making fun of the trope and they know that it's there, that's the point. That's the comedy behind it.
The damseled women remain as disempowered as ever. Now, some will no doubt contend that jokes have no cultural power or significance and should just not be taken seriously. This is nothing new. Making light of and dismissing gender issues is a sad, time-honored tradition.
No.
But I would argue that this reaction fundamentally misunderstands how humor functions as one of the primary means by which the culture of sexism is maintained and perpetuated.
Now, like, actually, Candy, let's, no, that's not allowed. That's not allowed. However, Candy, I will say this. I would smash just for the sake of saying that I did. You know, like, you can't deny, you can't fucking argue that. And be like, okay, I hate this bitch. I downright loathe this bitch. about as much as I loathe Jack Thompson because of this shit, but I would smash just to say I did.
Mass media entertainment doesn't just reflect our culture, it also works
God,
to
how much
create
time
it.
is left on this
Sexist
bullshit?
jokes in particular serve as a form of cultural permission, which help entrench toxic pre-existing attitudes
Feed
and
that fat
opinions.
bitch.
Of course, humor can also be a powerful tool with which to challenge or break down harmful gender myths, but that is much harder to pull off and must be done with careful intentionality.
No, it just needs to be with like, is this funny? Yes, add it.
There is a clear difference between sexist parody and parody of sexism. Sexist parody
Is there?
encourages the players to mock and trivialize gender issues, while parody of sexism disrupts the status quo and undermines regressive gender conventions.
Okay, so each of those. All right, let's. I gotta hear that again because I interrupted her.
Myths. But that is much harder to pull off and must be done with
No, what you know? What's harder to pull off? Your clothes, because you won't shut the hell up.
careful intentionality. There is a clear difference between sexist parody and parody of sexism.
Okay, there's a difference between sexist parody and parody of sexism. Let's hear what this is.
Sexist parody encourages the players to mock and trivialize gender issues.
Okay, mock and trivialize gender issues. Well, yeah, because they don't really fucking exist anymore. Like I made the argument here. There are female gamers that will see that exact same shit. And probably more female gamers that will see that shit and see it the same way that guys do, as opposed to you.
While parody of sexism disrupts the status quo and undermines regressive gender conventions.
I've come to stop you from marrying Governor Marley.
So, for instance, when wannabe pirate Guybrush Threepwood finally reaches the kidnapped Elaine Marley in the 1990 adventure game The Secret of Monkey Island, she already has a plan to escape and he ruins it with his attempt to rescue her.
Oh, Guybrush, you mad fool! I'm impressed you came to rescue me, but it really wasn't necessary. I had everything well in hand.
The joke ends up being directed at the protagonist, rather than making fun of the damseled woman.
Yeah.
There's been much discussion over the ultimate meaning of the 2008 indie hit Braid.
Okay, so basically, like, that is still pretty fucking funny.
But it's notable as an example of a more dramatic game that plays with the trope. Although the narrative is somewhat abstract, it eventually becomes clear that the damsel has actually been trying to get away from the protagonist the whole time. Both of these games offer some interesting commentary on the heroic rescue formula. Monkey Island asks, what if the damsel is perfectly capable of orchestrating her own escape, and attempts to rescue her just make things worse? Braid asks, in part, what if by trying to save the damsel, it actually makes you the villain? While these types of games are a refreshing departure from the standard formula,
here comes the bitching,
and something I generally like to see more of, the focus is still squarely on the male characters.
Oh, God. Is there no fucking winning with this bitch in video games?
And so, at their core, these games are really deconstructing the player's assumptions about the traditional hero archetype.
Yeah, it's called a swerve. And it's meant to fucking troll the male gamer. You fucking bitch. You stupid fucking whore. Like, this is exactly what is that's the purpose for it. Why she gotta make shit so confusing? Because she's a woman talking to guys. You know, like, I'm gonna be confused by this shit. I'm having a very hard time trying to stand on one leg while holding my fucking nose with one finger like this and listening to her talk without losing equilibrium.
A true subversion of the trope would need to star the damsel as the main playable character.
Are you serious? Okay, so that's your fucking goal. Then wouldn't that make it a little bit similar to, I don't know, Super Princess Peach without the PMS powers?
It would have to be her story. Sadly, there are very few games that really explore this idea. So as a way to illustrate how a deconstruction could work, Let's try a thought experiment to see if we can create a hypothetical game concept of our own.
No, the only thought experiment that I have at this moment is trying to put a bullet in my fucking head.
Like many fairy tales, this story begins once upon a time with the kidnapping of a princess. She dutifully waits for a handsome hero to arrive and rescue her. Eventually, however, she grows tired of the damseling and decides it's high time she saves herself.
And then she uses her bionic ninjutsu skills to break through the fucking castle walls. I called it. And then she's gonna kick some ass.
Of course, if she's going to be the protagonist of this particular adventure, she's going to need to acquire a slightly more practical outfit.
How did I call this?
After her daring escape, she navigates the forbidding forest, leveling up her skills along the way. Upon reaching her kingdom, she discovers the inevitable yet unexpected plot twist. The Royal Council has usurped power and were responsible for her kidnapping.
And so she's gonna overthrow the fucking government and become the queen.
Branded a traitor and outlaw in her own land, she unlocks new disguises and stealth abilities to infiltrate the city walls. She makes her way through the final castle to confront the villainous council and abolish the monarchy forever.
How did I call this? You feminists are so fucking easy to read. Everything, and keeping in mind, of course, I have never watched any of the Anita Sarkeesian shit. I did not watch this before the show or anything like that. I purposefully have not watched any of this so that way my reactions are real. And I called every single thing that she said right down the line. You want to talk about fucking tropes? Your storyline is bullshit.
A story idea like this one would
is very fucking probable.
Work to actively subvert traditional narrative expectations. The princess is placed in a perilous situation, but instead of being made into the goal for a male protagonist, she uses her intelligence, creativity, wit, and strength to engineer her own escape.
The game is going to be called Patriarchy.
And then become the star of her own adventure. Now, I'm certainly not arguing that all stories must include completely fearless, hyper-individualistic, heroic women who pull themselves up by their bootstraps and never need anything from anyone.
But that's what you would play. Durr!
Of course, there is absolutely nothing wrong with offering or occasionally needing assistance.
Jade! Hang on, Jade! I'm coming! Free yourself, Jade! I'll create a diversion!
The human impulse to help others in need is certainly not a negative thing. It only becomes a problem when acts of altruism are repeatedly presented in heavily gendered ways.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
That are bound up in harmful myths about women as perpetual victims and men as paternalistic saviors.
Well, I mean, keeping in mind, of course, that this has been something that's been in men for fucking eons. See what I'm saying? Like, Emily, Tabitha, I keep on fucking saying this. Her trope isn't with games that you can fucking make your character female. It's basically like, okay, this is the typeset. You're a male character saving a female fucking victim. Like, that's basically her fucking huge ass argument, which I've destroyed every day for the last 3 weeks.
In fact, cooperation and mutual aid are concepts that hold an enormous amount of gaming potential. True co-op games, MMOs, and some RPGs offer gameplay possibilities that, if done right, can facilitate a mutual aid style adventure involving people of all genders cooperating.
Oh, yeah, because that, equality.
Whereas My Heart and Thomas Was Alone both employ innovative examples of mutual aid by having a single player control multiple characters working together towards a common goal.
The yellow stick right there is a woman. It's not that she needs to not play other games. She just needs to shut the fuck up and accept things for what they actually are.
As we've established, the damsel in distress is part of a long tradition of mythological narratives dating back through the ages.
Yeah.
But those historic roots are no excuse for the continued use of a trope that perpetuates regressive and patronizing myths about women. It's been 100 years since a woman was first tied to the railroad tracks in this 1913 Keystone Cops short. And it's been over 3 decades since the hit arcade game Donkey Kong helped entrench the damsel in distress as a default motivation for male heroes in video games as a medium.
See, like, I could have given a shit less about Pauline. I just wanted to fucking kill the monkey.
Yet, here we are, still seeing the same old cliche trotted out again and again.
And it's never going to stop, no matter how much money you bilk from your fucking idiotic fucking supporters. It's never going to stop. You can sit here and fucking faux protest all you like. If you were a real gamer, you would just accept it for what they are and not bitch.
It's long past time to disrupt the established pattern, break the cycle, and create new gender paradigms.
Yeah, where nothing is fucking gender-based and everything is a yellow fucking french fry. Durr! Yeah, fuck you, Anita Sarkeesian. Like, as far as I'm concerned, this trope doesn't need to go away. At all. Like, I'm personally satisfied with the way that the gaming industry is. You know, because now it's to a point where it's like, I don't care about the fucking trope or anything like that. What I care about is the adventure of the game. What I care about is the way that things are being done in between the beginning and the end. I care more about the music that's being played in the background of the fucking game. Right, yeah. Jesus Christ. This is just, you know, it's fucking saddening that, you know, this is the type of thing that somebody like Anita Sarkeesian is going to fucking waste her time on. And just constantly fucking bitch about the way that games are in the fucking gaming industry. If you were a real gamer, Anita Sarkeesian, which a lot of people have actually pointed out that you really aren't, if, you know, like, you actually admitted through, like, at the very beginning of the fucking time that you started getting into trying to make money in order to do this 12-part series that took you forever and a fucking day to do. You actually admitted that you're not a gamer per chance until you got $150,000 out of your fucking viewers and supporters and shit because, you know, you bilked them due to manipulating the troll community, which, hey, I'll give you that one. That one I'll give you, Anita Sarkeesian. You figured out a way on how to fucking use trolling to your advantage in order to make some fucking scratch. That I'll give you. However, the fact is that you wasted all of the, you know, like a good chunk of that fucking money to buy video games that you weren't even willing to play. You know, like, I seen this picture of you with a big stack of Xbox games and shit like that. Yeah, you know what? I've got over here is a bunch of fucking games. They're not all Xbox. Behind the green screen, there's actually a fucking bunch of NES games. Back there's NES games and Sega games and Super Nintendo games. Over here, PlayStation games. You know, games for the Sega Saturn, for the Sega Dreamcast and shit like that. And half of these fucking systems, I can guarantee you have no idea what they are or what they look like without having to fucking look it up this shit on Wikipedia. So, as far as I'm concerned, once again, 3rd week in a row, fuck you, Anita Sarkeesian. And I know that there are people that are watching this that have been like, dude, this was 7 years ago. Why are you bitching about it now? For one, retrospective. Okay? Retro. I'm supposed to be talking about retro-related shit. And this was something that I was not privy to because I took a 3-year hiatus from YouTube. So I had no knowledge of anything whatsoever with Gamergate. You know, and I've been trying to fucking look into I've been wanting to fucking look into it because I've heard the name Anita Sarkeesian fucking enough. You know, it's one of those things that I decided to fucking take a look into, and I'm gonna continue to take a look into this. You know, watching some of her videos and covering them and making fun of this stupid fucking hoop ring earring wearing bitch. Fuck Anita Sarkeesian. And maybe if you're lucky, maybe if I'm lucky, I might be able to find C-SPAN coverage from the shit that was going on back in the day with oh, what was it, the ESRB, and everything that was going on with that with Senator Lieberman. You know, because that's some retro fucking conversational shit too. I'll probably look into that, and in the meantime, we're going to continue to make fun of Anita Sarkeesian. And believe me, it's not going to be like 3 months in a row, because there are some of these videos that Anita did are like maybe 5 minutes or so. So I'm going to have to double check that. Let me look real quick. Let me see. Okay, Anita Sarkeesian bitch. So yeah, Jade, positive female characters. Let's see. So we've got, yeah, positive female characters in video games. That's like 11 minutes. We've got Miss Male character, and that's like 25 minutes. The Legend of the Last Princess, hypothetical game concept. Let's see. I think that's basically what that was. The Scythian, positive female characters in video games. So let's see. Oh, here's another series that she ended up doing. Women as background decoration. Let's see, what else do we have here? Women as a reward, special DLC. Yeah. So there are some other fucking videos that we are going to have to cover with the stupid Anita Sarkeesian bitch. And that will have to come at another time. Until next time, though, you know, we'll just have to wait and see what's going on. Make sure that you tune in to the Sid Jones Network for a lot of the other shit. We just recently made affiliate here on the network, and we're actually going to be looking into a lot of other things in the next coming months. We're currently trying to come up with a plan with some of the things that we want to fucking do with this shit. So let's go ahead and close this out. Let's see if there's anybody else that we could possibly yeah, let's see if there's somebody else that we could possibly raid before we get it, you know, before we get the hell out of here. Okay, so let's see. What the hell was that? Ah, Corrupt Emily has gifted a tier 1 sub to Tabitha. Thank you for that. Awesome. All right, we definitely need to yeah, see that right there. Case in point with that. And yeah. So we're going to be able to continue with that, and also there's going to be something that we're going to do in about 3 months. Since we have to wait for a 90-day period. Me, Twiggy, and Sid Jones are actually planning on doing something in the next 3 months. So yeah, if you sub, make sure that you stay subbed in the next 3 months. All right, so let's see. Let's see if there's anything going on in talk shows. If there's anybody fucking talking about video games and shit like that, we could probably go up in there. Try to see if there's anything worth a fuck going live. Or do you think we should rather fucking just say to hell with it and oh god, there's a tranny. See, we could probably just watch some retro gaming. That would probably be a good thing. You know, we're going to do that. Since we're talking about gaming, let's try to see if we can find a video game that is based on the fucking trope. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the retro channel, see if there's anything that's going on. Oh, hey, right off the bat, we have Pronzo, that's playing Zelda. Let's see, Daniel Rivas, he's a homie. He's playing Batman and Friday the 13th. Let's see, Speedrun Hype, no. Let's see. Oh, hey, here we go. We've got a guy that's playing Tomb Raider. So let's go ahead and raid him. Tropes for the fucking win, yo. Alright, so let's go ahead and copy that. Alright, let's go. We're gonna watch some we're gonna watch some patriarchal gaming here. So there we go. No, you come with us for a minute at least, so that way he gets the view. Alright, so I'm gonna get the hell up out of here. You guys have a good one. Tune in next week on the next episode of the Retrospective, and make sure that you keep in mind of what we got going on with the fucking schedule for the upcoming week. I believe Sid Jones is going to be doing his show tomorrow at noon. Me personally, I'm probably going to get up on my alternate channel, Middle Aged Crazy, and play some Mario Kart 8 with my son. And then later tonight, around 1 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be playing Mega Man X Command Mission on my Kreyz and McKormik channel. If you go into the panels, you can actually see under my bio the links to those channels. So make sure that you follow this channel, follow the other channels that I'll be on if you enjoyed my content. And with that being said, I'm Kreyz and McKormik. Let's raid this motherfucker. I'm out, y'all. Have a good one. Deuces.